कसीरुल फरीकी इदारों की रकूम यूरो और सकूक बॉन्ड्स कमर्शियल बैंकों और दोस्त मुल्कों से हासिल करदा 3 अरब 78 करोड़ 72 लाख डॉलर के मजमूई कर्जों में चीन से हासिल करदा कर्जों का तनासुब 14.7% था, जो दूसरी तिमाही में हासिल करदा 3 अरब 95 करोड़ 29 लाख डॉलर के कर्जों में बढ़कर 21.45% तक पहुँच गया। दूसरी तिमाही के दौरान पाकिस्तान ने सकूक बॉन्ड्स के इजरा से 1 अरब डॉलर जबकि कमर्शियल बैंकों के कर्ज से 90 करोड़ डॉलर की रकम हासिल की है। रिपोर्ट के मुताबिक हुकूमती इदारों और कॉरपोरेशंस के मुकामी बैंकों से कर्जे GDP के 2% से भी तजावुज कर गए। रवा माली साल के 8.5 माह में बैंकिंग सेक्टर से 122 अरब रुपए के नए कर्जे लिए। स्टेट बैंक के मुताबिक मार्च के दूसरे हफ्ते में सरकारी इदारों और कॉरपोरेशंस ने बैंकों से मजमूई तौर पर 25 अरब 56 करोड़ 40 लाख रुपए के नए कर्जे लिए, जिसके बायस कॉरपोरेशंस की तरफ से मजमूई तौर पर लिए गए कर्जे 121 अरब 98 करोड़ 30 लाख रुपए की रिकॉर्ड सतह पर पहुंच गए।
Three state-linked Russian banks aim to introduce a number of Islamic financial products this year that could increase pressure for Russian authorities to create a legal framework facilitating the industry. Russian banks' balance sheets have been strained by an economic crisis and Western-imposed sanctions, encouraging efforts to develop Sharia-compliant finance to attract investors from the Gulf and Southeast Asia. But Russia does not have a large Muslim population to provide a ready-made customer base. Only about 20 million of its roughly 145 million people are Muslims. So progress rests on a handful of pilot projects and the willingness of regulators to pass legislation that would make Islamic finance cost-effective. Those efforts received a boost last month when Russian lenders Vneshekonombank, Sberbank and Tatfond Bank signed agreements with the Islamic Development Bank to support their initiatives.
Russia's State Development Bank VEB may potentially raise financing on Islamic capital markets thanks to a memorandum of understanding it has signed with the Islamic Development Bank Group on Friday, VEB said in a statement. VEB is among companies under Western sanctions due to Russia's role in the Ukrainian crisis. The state corporation may need 1.2 trillion rubles, $18.17 billion, in government support, according to official estimates.
Saudi Arabia plans to issue an Islamic bond, or sukuk, for its real estate development fund by the end of 2017-2018, the housing minister said on Wednesday. The sukuk program is specialized for the real estate development fund, Majd al-Hogail said at a press conference. The fund is the largest financer for the Saudi real estate sector and has a portfolio of around 190 billion Saudi riyals, the minister said. We believe we can get cash flow from issuing sukuk for these loans and getting money to deal with the fund's waiting list in the fastest time possible, he said.
सरमाए की किल्लत स्टेट बैंक ने 1046 अरब रुपए फराहम कर दिए। मिनी मार्केट सिस्टम में सरमाए की किल्लत के बायस स्टेट बैंक ने 1046 अरब रुपए फराहम कर दिए। मिनी मार्केट सिस्टम में सरमाए की किल्लत के बायस स्टेट बैंक ने 1046 अरब रुपए फराहम किए हैं। स्टेट बैंक ऑफ पाकिस्तान ने सरमाए की फराहमी 7 दिन के लिए की है। सरमाया फराहम करने के लिए स्टेट बैंक ने टी बिल्स और पाकिस्तान इन्वेस्टमेंट बॉन्ड्स की खरीदारी की है। सरमाए की फराहमी 5.82% सालाना शरह सूद पर की गई है।
Sharjah Islamic Bank, SIB, a Sharia-compliant commercial bank in the UAE, has successfully repaid a $400 million (DH1.46 billion) sukuk. The sukuk had been issued in May 2011 with the fund used for general corporate purposes and business expansion of SIB. Ahmad Sayed, Deputy CEO of SIB, said the bank's liquidity remains strong and the quality of the bank's assets are in line with peers. According to a statement on Saturday, SIB chose to repay the sukuk through its internal sources, which was evidence of the bank's excellent liquidity position. SIB holds an A3 grade rating from Moody's and BBB Plus by S&P and Fitch Ratings. Mohammed Abdullah, CEO of SIB, thanked investors for their trust in SIB. SIB believes that the capital markets to be an opportunity for growth for Islamic banks, and we, at SIB, would look to tap the markets at appropriate times. Sukuk allow us to diversify our funding sources and engage with investors on various opportunities, he said. SIB currently has 2 sukuk of $500 million outstanding, which are set to mature in 2018 and 2020 respectively. SIB is the largest bank in the Emirate of Sharjah and has a 31.3% shareholding by the government of Sharjah and 20% by Kuwait Finance House, with the balance held by the public. As of March 31, 2016, SIB posted a 22.9% year-on-year increase to attain a net profit of DH131.9 million, with total assets at DH30.15 billion and shareholders' equity at DH4.6 billion.
From January to March, 2.8 million people were classed as being in crisis or emergency food situations, with about 40,000 thought to be suffering an outright famine. Too many people are unable to meet their food needs because of the combined effects of more than 2 years of fighting, a collapsing economy, high food prices and erratic rainfall. At a food distribution center in Araon, Northern Bahr El Ghazal, WFP nutritionist Felista Bizet tested women and children for malnutrition. The reading lower than 12 on the band's middle upper arm circumference MUAC indicates they are severely malnourished. This is a girl and she is 2 years old and she is also severely malnourished. The MUAC is reading 11, Bizet said. The rising hunger comes despite attempts to end more than 2 years of war, which started in December 2013 when President Salva Kiir sacked his first Vice President Riek Machar, triggering ethnically charged violence. Some fighting continues, but Kiir was able to name the new cabinet in late April, including former rebels and members of the opposition. After Mukhtar returned to Juba and got back his old job, tens of thousands are fleeing the countryside because of drought and lack of food and traveling towards larger cities such as Darfur. People are feeling the pinch of the bad weather conditions, which led to failed harvest. They are feeling the pinch of the economic collapse in the country, which means that they don't have enough money to buy food, if they found it in the market, and when they find the food in the market for anything they do need, it's so expensive. George Fulminayan, WFP spokesperson, said, "We are scaling up our response in this area so that we can be able to cater for these people. It is a process that we are beginning, and it is something that needs a lot of support, and we are also, therefore, calling on all our donor partners who have supported us this far in the past 2 years of the conflict, to come even more." Fulminayan added, during the 2015 lean season, which runs from March to September, about 4.6 million people were classed as severely food insecure, WFP said previously. The most severe conditions are in Unity State, where a team of food security experts found a risk of widespread catastrophe during a visit late last year. The United Nations says 1.69 million South Sudanese are displaced within the country and another 712,000 have fled into neighboring countries. The unhumanitarian plan for South Sudan has received only 27% of the US $1.29 billion needed.
मुल्क में मोबाइल बैंकिंग तेजी से बढ़ रही है। गवर्नर स्टेट बैंक अशरफ उत्तरा ने कहा है कि पाकिस्तान में भी ब्रांच लेस और मोबाइल बैंकिंग तेजी से बढ़ रही है और 2020 तक इसमें मजीद इजाफा होगा। कराची के मुकामी होटल में मुनाकिदा मोबाइल बैंकिंग कॉन्फ्रेंस से खिताब में गवर्नर स्टेट बैंक ने बैंकों को डिजिटल बैंक के जदीद फीचर्स अपनाने, फॉल मोबाइल बैंकिंग अकाउंट्स की तादाद बढ़ाने की हिदायत की है। अशरफ उत्तरा ने कहा है कि टेक्नोलॉजी कारोबार करने के तरीके बदल रही है, ऑनलाइन बिजनेस तेजी से बढ़ रहा है। पाकिस्तान में एम वॉल्ट इस्तेमाल करने वालों की तादाद 1,60,00,000 हो चुकी है। उन्होंने कहा कि साइबर क्राइम के हवाले से मुख्तलिफ एजेंसियों को गाइडलाइंस फराहम करते रहे हैं।
Several Omani private firms are keen to raise funds by way of Sukuk or Islamic bond issues, after Mohammed Al-Barwani Holding LLC receiving approval from the market watchdog Capital Market Authority, CMA, for a OMR 58 million issue. The companies interested in issuing Sukuk can avail tax concession if the special purpose vehicle for Sukuk issue is registered in Oman and the issue is floated in the local market, a highly placed source in CMA said. Mohammed Al-Barwani Holdings Sukuk issue, which is a private placement, has opened subscription on Monday and the investors have an option to either subscribe it in Omani Rial or dollar denomination since it is a dual currency issue, a source added. The group has already formed a special purpose vehicle, SPV, Mohammed Al-Barwani Sukuk issue SOC, for raising funds from the market. The Sultanate has issued new regulation on Sharia-compliant bond instrument last month and thereafter, several Omani firms, including financial institutions, property developers and oil firms, have evinced interest in raising funds by way of Sukuk issue, according to CMA sources. So far, Oman market witnessed only 2 Sukuk issues that raised a total of OMR 300 million. OMR 50 million from real estate development firm Tile Development Company, and the other one OMR 250 million sovereign Sukuk issue. Under the new regulation, the market regulator allows companies to determine the timing, amount and pricing of the Sukuk to be issued based on the company's funding and operational needs, and not required to issue the whole Sukuk amount all at once, and this, not incurring the whole cost up front. The issuance of the country's first sovereign Sukuk and development bonds by the government helped to create a yield curve for the country in order to create a pricing benchmark for issuers and to enhance secondary market activities. Sukuk forms an important element to further enhance Oman's Islamic financial market and enable the capital market to play its vital role as a fundraising platform for companies, while diversifying the financing base and risk away from the traditional banking sector. In fact, GCC states along with Malaysia, Indonesia, Turkey, Singapore, and Pakistan, have issued $11.1 billion worth of Sukuk in the first 3 months of 2016. These states are choosing to issue more of their debt as Sukuk rather than conventional bonds. These countries issued 39.3% of their debt as Sukuk, the highest ratio of Sukuk to conventional debt in 8 years, based on data from Fitch Ratings. The Egyptian Takaful insurance companies have managed to capture 7.6% of the total insurance compensations paid throughout the first quarter of 2016. Total first half compensations recorded 2.6 billion Egyptian pounds, $292.7 million, of which the Tafakul firms seized around 199.8 million pounds. A recent report by the Egyptian Financial Supervisory Authority, EFSA, has found Islamic insurance, which is popularly known as Takaful insurance, is gaining popularity in Oman, with the players achieving a robust growth of 64% in gross direct premium at OMR 39 million last year, which constitutes around 9% of insurance industry's OMR 442 million direct premium income and 5% of total paid claims. The success of Takaful insurance firms, despite an economic slowdown in view of a slump in oil prices, was mainly due to the ability of Takaful players to gain people's trust, ability to offer affordable and competitive premium and quality service. The Sultanate's 2 Takaful insurance firms, Al Madina Takaful and Takaful Oman Insurance, are taking efforts to create awareness among the public on the importance of Sharia-compliance insurance schemes. According to the CMA's Insurance Review, the direct gross premiums of the insurance industry grew by 11% to OMR 442 million in 2015, from OMR 396.2 million in the previous year. Also, the average annual growth in insurance sector in the last 5 years was 12%, which shows the popularity of both conventional insurance products and Sharia-compliant Takaful insurance schemes in the country. All these achievements are made in spite of an unusual growth in compensation claims, mainly from construction firms and vehicle insurers, in the aftermath of a series of damages caused by unusual rains last year. The total paid claims surged ahead by 25% to touch OMR 290.72 million last year, from OMR 232.21 million in 2014. As far as the foreign insurance companies are concerned, the gross paid claims were OMR 58.77 million, a growth of 11% in 2015 from the previous year's level. Motor insurance witnessed the highest percentage in claims paid by national and foreign insurers last year at 36% and 53%, respectively. Motor insurance comprised 37% of the entire insurance sector's premiums, while health insurance constituted 23% of the gross written premiums. Also, the contribution of insurance sector to the gross domestic product of the Sultanate was 1.4% last year. The total assets of the Sultanate's insurance companies have edged up by 2% to OMR 777.98 million last year compared to the previous year's level of OMR 761.40 million. The growth was due to an increase in the assets of the foreign insurance companies by 6% in 2015 to reach OMR 242.73 million compared to OMR 228.43 million in the previous year. The Sultanate has 36 insurance brokerage firms and 22 insurance companies, which are a mix of locally incorporated firms and foreign firms. National companies represent the largest portion of the insurance market in the Sultanate. The net profit of insurance companies was OMR 15.57 million, dropping by 40% from OMR 26.13 million. OMR 26. The Dakaful Islamic insurance model in the Sultanate, which currently accounts for less than 10% of market share, needs to be suitably restructured and realigned to help drive the growth of this promising industry, says a newly released report on the outlook for Oman's Sharia-compliant financial services, titled Islamic Finance in Oman IFN Report 2016. The document is based on a seminar and dialogue, which was staged in Muscat recently by Malaysia-based Red Money Group. The day-long event attracted senior figures from Omani Islamic banks, Islamic windows, Dakaful insurance providers, Sharia-compliant investment fund managers, and consultants. Also represented were regulating agencies and stakeholders, including the Ministry of Finance and Capital Market Authority. The whole structure and model of Dakaful in its current form needs to be restructured and realigned. There are certain issues with the model, and the business model needs to change in order to generate a profitable policyholders fund that does not require Card Hassan from the shareholders fund, the report stated. It noted in particular that much of the local Dakaful business, which accounts for only around 9% of market share, has been converted from conventional insurance, rather than having been generated organically. The market needs to grow and more firms need to be established. It is hard to raise awareness with just 2 companies and more capital investment is needed, it stated. Uptake of Sharia-compliant insurance, which first made its debut in the Sultanate in 2014, is expected to pick up strongly in the wake of the introduction in March this year of a dedicated Dakaful law. Modeled on the basis of guidelines issued by Accounting, Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions, the new law allows greater flexibility in the way how market players offer Dakaful to domestic customers. Sharia matters, for example, can be adjudicated by the Sharia boards of the respective companies. The framework is expected to provide much-needed clarity and guidance to operators in order to boost the market share of Dakaful, which stands at 8.7% of total written premiums in the Sultanate. However, the Capital Market Authority recognizes that there is still more room for improvement regulatory-wise on an international level. The Dakaful Islamic insurance model in the Sultanate, which currently accounts for less than 10% of market share, needs to be suitably restructured and realigned to help drive the growth of this promising industry, says a newly released report on the outlook for Oman's Sharia-compliant financial services. Titled, Islamic Finance in Oman IFN Report 2016, the document is based on a seminar and dialogue, which was staged in Muscat recently by Malaysia-based Red Money Group. The day-long event attracted senior figures from Omani Islamic banks, Islamic windows, Dakafl insurance providers, Sharia-compliant investment fund managers, and consultants. Also represented were regulating agencies and stakeholders, including the Ministry of Finance and Capital Market Authority. The whole structure and model of Dakafl in its current form needs to be restructured and realigned. There are certain issues with the model, and the business model needs to change in order